Welcome to this comprehensive video of natural selection explained by the history of home video entertainment. Since the mid-20th century, it was possible for consumers to produce their own films with 8mm cameras and projectors. But, in 1972, Cartravision was introduced as the first video format for rental, bringing pre-recorded films to people's houses. Although innovating, Cartravision soon died for lack of adaptability to the market. VHS and Betamax would then show up as much fitter species to the environment of home video consumers. Betamax carried more sophisticated traits than VHS, reason for which it held almost 100% of the market at first, until its eventual demise, when VHS proved more useful for recording movies unattended. This particular trait held VHS as the most well-adapted technology during the 80s, even beating Laserdisc, which was newer and apparently more evolved. On the mid-90s, the environment changed drastically and started favoring DVDs, a new species showing traits of higher quality and interactiveness. Along with DVDs, other technologies arose in the 90s in a seemingly random fashion, like streaming services, which didn't really take off at the time. The first years of the new millennium saw a $1 million arms race between DVD HD and Blu-ray discs, both set to replace DVD, as the next step in the natural evolution of home video. But that's not how evolution works, and, despite winning the race, Blu-ray never had the same popularity of DVDs. Being physical medias became counter-adaptive traits. The market was favoring practicality and cost, which were brought by online piracy. Piracy's main disadvantages, its illegality and need for technical expertise, set the ground for the sudden growth of an old and forgotten species. Created back in 1997, Netflix suddenly found itself in perfect conditions for growing and spreading. It was faster and more widely available than online piracy, it was legal, and the cost was negligible enough.
Although the development and release of each new technology, or species, seemed well planned, each new one represented a small variation from an older one that appeared just as randomly as genetic mutations in living organisms. Genetic mutation is the origin for variation in all life forms. The survival of a species is not determined by its efforts alone, like how many $1 million are invested in an arms race, but rather, by how fit they are to the environment they live in. This is the logic of natural selection.